Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm very blessed to meet you for the first time today.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
No, thank you so much. It's a pleasure as well.
Yeah, gompieno re tshepetse mo bekile fitile gore tla tswela fela re ntse re thatša mo re thatšileng teng.
Yes, sir.
Tla khona dipela go ibile o dumetse pele le moretsi wa Kurera FM.
Ke rata go dumedisa baretsi botlhe. It's good to reconnect once more. I think we are going to enjoy this journey.
Yes.
Yeah, so as we build, you build line upon line.
True.
You know, you don't build the roof before you do the walls. You don't do the walls before the foundation. So I think we are now covering quite a lot in terms of background.
Yes.
So what I would like to do is, as we continue, I'm gonna start touching on what I call the laws of life. And then each week we will deal with one law.
Okay.
And then we will start dealing with those laws to say, how do they operate and how do we make use of them to further allow ourselves to, deal with the system of life.
Nice one.
Thank you, sir.
Take it up, Mr. Mohapi.
I believe we have been doing quite a bit in terms of where we are going, motivation ya rona, and I strongly believe that part of what we discussed last week was just purely on the importance of success. We never really got to touch on it properly so that it's understandable, but I was using the example here, Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. And I said the two guys are both outstanding, but their focuses and their goals are not the same. Because how each of them defines success is not the same. And I said, for an example, if you look at a guy like Lionel Messi is focusing on being a legend. He's focusing on doing the best. He's focusing on making sure that he becomes the best, like the likes of your Maradonas and your Peles and so on. That's his focus. Ronaldinho, on the other hand, he is looking at it very differently because he's building a brand. And if you look at how his brand is now becoming successful, is that he's even getting to a space where he makes a lot more money than the rest of the other guys.
True.
And yet, if you compare, Messi is very close to Lionel Messi, but Lionel Messi actually does better than him. But he still makes more money than Lionel Messi because his focus on what success is that he wants to build a brand. That's why even when he chose the manager that's supposed to manage his career, it's a very outstanding businessman who understands networks, who understands acquisitions. And if you were to hear the guy, I watch documentaries a lot.
Yes.
So if you were to hear the guy speak about his focus where Ronaldo is concerned, is that he is not looking for a team that's going to give Ronaldo the best money, but he's looking for a team that will give Ronaldo more plays on the field than any of the other teams. Now, that focus on its own says Ronaldo needs to be visible. And people need to see him as much as possible in the field.
Yeah.
Because when they see him, whether he does well or not, it's irrelevant. The fact that he's there all the time, it makes people never forget that there is a superstar out there called Ronaldo. So what is important about this is what I was talking about in terms of how do we adapt? And part of us adapting is being able to define success for ourselves.
Yes,
success to you is not the same as success to me. And what is important is for you to know what really is success to you. Because if you're going to look at success from the eyes of, say, for an example, a mine owner, then you're going to be depressed. Because you're going to try and find something that might not even necessarily be part of what you need to be achieving in life. Because a lot of people, if you say success to them, the first thing that comes to mind is money. Now, Lionel Messi is successful. He doesn't have as nearly even, they even took Mbappe, they took Lionel Messi, and they took Neymar.
Yes.
They put all of their annual salaries together. They couldn't still all together, could not match Ronaldo's salary alone. Now, you realize those three guys can choose to be depressed and say, we are not doing better than Ronaldo, and that will affect their play in the field. But if their understanding of their success is that I understand why I'm in the field. I understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. And my focus is that I want to build 1, 2, 3. I am not Ronaldo, I am Neymar. I am not Ronaldo, I'm Lionel Messi. I'm not Ronaldo, I am Mbappe. So if they understand that to say, I'm not I cannot do things like Motsepe. I cannot do things like Ramaphosa. Then success to me as Remo Happy must be success based on what will fulfill me. So what I want to highlight is that success is supposed to fulfill you as a person.
Wow.
So if you set up a goal and say, I want to be successful, and success in my mind looks like 1, 2, 3, those are the things that you're supposed to make sure that those goals are goals that when you achieve them, you are going to be the most fulfilled person. And what we don't realize is that success is not about having a lot. Success is about being fulfilled. And once you are fulfilled, you will find people. I like the story of what is this man again? The peaceful man in India. So what he does, what he did in his life, he never owned any property. He never owned any. He really didn't have any savings, big savings or anything like that. He was just living to see everyone live peacefully. That to him was success.
He was fulfilled.
He was fulfilled. Even when he died in peace, because he was not the kind of person who was running for success because he wanted to do certain things in a certain way. But he wanted success to him was just purely making sure that he does what makes him happy. He does what fulfills him. And now there's a difference between happiness and fulfillment.
Okay.
And this becomes very important because a lot of people think fulfillment is happiness. Now, happiness is a short-term feeling that comes because of hormones that are released in your body. It's like fear. You know, when something happens and you feel fear, there is what you call adrenaline that's pumped in your system. And you know, there's different types of hormones that are pumped in your system depending whether you are happy or you are angry. Now, those hormones, when you pump them in your system, they last for a certain period of time and then they go away. Happiness is one of those things. You can be happy right now because something good has happened, but you're not going to remain happy the whole time. That happiness will fade away. But fulfillment is different. Because what fulfillment does, it produces something that is very powerful in a human being. And that thing is called contentment. Contentment means you are satisfied. So when you are fulfilled as a person, you have what we call contentment. A person who's satisfied can live among people that have 100 times more than what they have. And they are not going to be shaken by that. You know why? They are happy with what they have.
Powerful.
Now, when you are content as a person, you get to a space of your life where you are happy with what you have. And when you are happy with what you have, I am telling you right now, nothing can dictate to you what makes you happy and what doesn't make you happy. Because you know what drives contentment in your life. And those are the things that you focus on in your life. When you are relaxed because you're focused, this is what I was saying. One of the things that makes a lot of people successful today is having a narrow vision. They have a narrow vision, and that narrow vision says, I am focusing on 2 or 3 things. And we wonder why some of those people are billionaires today. It's simply because those people have decided nothing else matters in life. Because all of these other things, even if I were to do them, I'll be happy for a moment. Momentarily, I'm happy. After that, I am not happy anymore. And that creates a problem because then in the end, it puts you in a space as a person where you will end up not knowing what is it that makes you happy or not. So part of the reason why we do this motivation is you need to continue asking yourself this question every week. Who are you?
Oh, man.
Who are you? And once you begin to start having answers, you know, it will take you some time to build towards that as a person. Because really, to tell you the honest truth, sometimes it will require you to spend some time alone. And isolate yourself from people and take some time to understand, who are you? Who are you? Because when you are around certain people, most of the time you behave in a certain way. A person who knows who they are the same anyway. It does not matter where they are. They are exactly the same everywhere. Because that person knows, this is who I am. If I were to say to you, tell me about yourself, tell me 3 words that describe who you are as a person, that person will know exactly what to say. It's not going to be a difficult thing for them to explain. Now, I want to touch on something quickly as we talk about adaptation. Part of adaptation is that we need to get into a space where we understand that adaptation means a process. It means a system of being of adapting to a certain environment. And this becomes important because if you adapt to a certain environment, what it means is that first of all, what needs to happen is you need to first understand who you are. For you to be able to know how you adapt. Because people don't adapt the same way. Now, what is important is that if we understand what adapting means, I'll give you an example. Let's use a movie. The actors that are acting in that movie, for them to be good characters in that movie, they need to adapt to the personality of that character in the movie. And that person is not necessarily that character. But for that moment, and they would normally say you are a good actor depending on how well you can adapt to that character. If you adapt, and normally I think of Will Smith when I think of such, because he's a master when it comes to these type of things. He knows how to adapt to a character so well that even when you're watching a movie, you will believe that these emotions are coming directly from him. And this is what makes some of these actors very good at what they do, because you will find that more than half the time they are able to allow that transformation to happen so that they can play that particular character very well. Now, what it also means is that there are times in your life as a person when you are adapting where you need to adapt momentarily, because whatever you're adapting to is not something that will stay for long. You adapt for that time. And we call that, most of the time we call that discipline. To say you will have the discipline to know, I am only doing this momentarily. For an example, I want to pass matric. You adapt for a year to be a different human being, because your focus is books and you want to make sure that you want to do well. So in that year, your lifestyle completely changes and you adapt to being a what you call it, a matriculant. You adapt to being a grade 12 student so that you can do well. When you get to university, the transformation is different.
Wow.
It's not the same as where you are. When you leave university and you go to a work environment, that adaptation also becomes different. That's why we are called human beings. Because what it means is it's a continuous thing. We continue to become better in everything that we do. Human beings are meant to evolve.
Yes, sir.
Human beings are meant to continue to grow towards a better direction. And this is how we should view adaptation most of the time. To say, I can continually, you look at even biology, you look at plants, you look at how a worm can turn into a caterpillar and it can turn into a butterfly. Now, those levels of transformation are teaching you to show you, and that transformation doesn't just happen randomly. It happened and it's time bound and it's controlled by certain timelines. And this also says to us that there is a time in your life where you need to begin to focus on you as a person and the transformation that you are going through as a person. Now, as a young person, you will realize you will go through an infancy stage. You become a young boy or a young girl. And before you know it, you are entering what they call adolescent stage. All of those are stages of transformation where you need to adapt to a certain environment, because the pressures of being a child and the pressures of being an adolescent are not the same. And the things that you are focusing on there are also not the same. So what you are dealing with there is that as you move through life and you are transforming as a person, there are certain things you need to be aware of around yourself. But the sad part is that because of how the world has been designed, with social media, with all these things that are happening, people are so detached to who they are. They would rather imitate and emulate what they see on social media, which is very disappointing, because some people don't even know what their real character is anymore, because they are trying to imitate what they are seeing on media. They are trying to imitate, another person was even saying the other time, it's so difficult to even fall in love these days, because the interpretation of what love is from one person to another is different. Another person, you buy them flowers, they feel loved. Another person, you buy them a car, only then they feel loved. Another person wants a house before they feel loved. Because all of those things are things that they are picking up from out there.
True.
And it changes even their own perception. And you will find that many a times, even if they get those things that they claim that will make them happy, that happiness lasts only for a period in time. So what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that people are chasing assets. People are chasing money. People are chasing properties and this and that. It's okay, but don't let that dictate who you are.
Yes, sir.
And don't let that dictate who you can become.
Wow.
And the sad part is that many a times you'll find a large population of people are motivated by what they have. I mean, ubona le motho la rekile ditlhako tse dintšha, la tsama go stratong tsa mantsa di checka yana. And it's normal for a human being to feel that way. But what is important is for you to realize that does not define who you are as a person. And for you to be able to adapt to this environment, you need to have that understanding. Because if certain things come into your life and they go, it's not going to change who you are.
Yeah.
If certain things don't work or happen the way you want them to happen, it's still not going to change who you are. So this is very important for us to understand. Now, I want to touch on a few things that I believe are very important, and I want to use an example. There is a lady who is an actress, an American actress, and I'm using her as an example because she wrote a book.
Okay.
And in this book, she's writing about herself. And what's interesting about that is that she writes the book when she's at the point in her life where the world believes she is doing very well. And what you then see on the book, you are thinking to yourself, how? We're thinking you are right at the top. And yet this is what you are writing. What is actually going on? Now, what I like about it, her name is Viola Davis. I don't know if you know her. Yeah. She does, she's the lead actress in a movie called Woman King. She's done How to Commit Murder and Get Away with It. She's done quite a lot of shows. And one of the things that she says there, and she has a very, very difficult upbringing, by the way.
Yeah.
To a point where they didn't have food to eat. She didn't have clothes to go to school. She would go to school barefoot. Things that we think only happen in South Africa. They were happening there. And it's one of those things that you look at. And what I like about the book, she calls the book Finding Me. And what I like about the book is that she highlights the fact that her perception of success has always been, if I do well, if I make everyone love me, if everyone thinks I am talented, if everyone thinks I am beautiful, that's what I'm looking for. So she went and lived her life trying to make sure that she achieves those things. Only to realize that when she reaches the peak of her career, when she's doing so well and she sits alone and she realizes that I'm actually not as fulfilled as I think I am. With everything that I've achieved, I don't think I am and she says at that point in time, she needed then to go back into her childhood. She had to sit down and go back into her childhood to find those things that really defined who Viola Davis is. And what is important about that is that she then found very critical things that were important. And her finding those things gave her the platform for her to be able to then say, these are the things I'm going to use as key pillars to now start building my life. Now, in the last few years, her life has completely changed. She's even gone now and started doing motivation. Because she's trying to share what she now understands about what people deem as success and what people think is success according to what they perceive, and what she believes should actually be the real success. And you will find that even in America, they will say, there is what you call an American dream. Go out there, make money, be flashy, buy expensive cars, be visible. And that's an American dream. You're doing well and you are visible. And you will find that a lot of Americans, that's what they live for. South Africans is exactly the same thing. There are those people that believe, I don't even have to go to school. If I can be a tenderpreneur, I'll have my millions and this and this and that. And that is a dream to them. And you will find other people saying, if I go into business, I'll be able to make money. Some are saying, if I go to school, I'll be able... There are several dreams that are out there that people have in the South African context that define what they call success. Now, the real question is, after you have achieved all of those things, I always tell people that say, all I need in my life is money. And I say, if you have not handled real money in your hands, that's what you will say. Because what you don't realize is that everything, because you are a human being, you evolve. Everything that you encounter in your life, whether it's money, whether it's people, you get used to it. And once you get used to it, the heaviness or the value of it becomes less and less. And once it becomes less, you will realize that you will find billionaires in South Africa that are depressed. And yet you are depressed now and you are saying, money will solve my problems. And some of those things make you realize that you cannot, as a person, use material things to survive or to adapt in life. Because when you do that, material things come and go. And when those things go, you are left wanting because you have nothing else to bounce back on. But when you adapting as a person has everything to do with what you have built as character traits, as pillars of who you are as a person, that will give you the right kind of platform for you to build. And you'll be able to do things without being bothered by how other people are doing.
Yes, sir.
And I always said to people most of the time, Kiri, that's probably one of the reasons why in Africa there's witchcraft. Is because people are defining success as having more than others. So when other people look at you and say, "Unale gore heta," they want to do something to take away what you have. Now, if we were fulfilled and we were all comfortable with where God has put us and where we are building towards, when another person succeeds, you will celebrate with them to say, my time is also coming because I know where I'm going and I know where I'm building towards. And this becomes important. So I would like to just motivate young people today and say to you, young person, you don't have to be cornered into thinking success is 1, 2, 3. You don't have to be put in a corner so that your life is under pressure because you want to live success in a certain way. Whether you are a business owner, whether you are a career person, whether you are just starting to build your life, it does not really matter where you are in life. But when you know where you are going, and where you are going is not necessarily material. It's more building character traits. It's more building things that will fulfill you as a person. Then you have, I think, in my opinion, you have the best plan there ever is.
Wow.
So for you to create a plan that you know is the best plan, and I can follow this plan until the grave. You know, there's a meme that I always look at on social media where they're showing a guy, he's young, and he's chasing money.
Yeah.
And he chases money and he chases money. And he gets to his middle ages. He's chasing money. And then he gets to his old age.
Yeah.
But by the time he gets to his old age, there's also a grave there.
Yo.
And when he gets to the grave, his hands are so full of money, but the grave is right here.
Yo.
That person has never even gotten the opportunity to live and express potential and allow themselves to enjoy life simply because their definition of success was something they didn't realize that even if I have it, it cannot save me.
Yo. Wow.
So don't be cornered. Allow yourself to grow. Allow yourself to reinvent yourself. Reinvent yourself and say, in my mind, what will make me fulfilled? It's 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to build my success around those things.
Yeah.
You know, some people are fulfilled by just seeing other people get help.
Yeah.
They don't care about money.
That's true.
They are just fulfilled by seeing other. And I'm not saying it's wrong for people to find money. I'm not saying it's wrong for people to do well when it comes to properties and this. It's okay. But it should not dictate who you are. Those things do not define you.
Yeah.
Those things are just there as what we call luxuries to make life comfortable. But what is more important is find who you are.
The real you.
So ask yourself a question as I close.
Yes, sir.
Who are you?
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Wow. Most of happy. 2023.